Time to make another video. Note the snow pile. We had a very big snow. And guess what? My seatbelt's not on. Shame on me. See little plants in there? I want them to be beautiful and interesting and all that, but I also want them to help that soil become healthy again. I don't know how many years it was just roof ballast rock on top of some landscape fabric, and then the soil below seems to be very, very tough clay, like gooey clay. But it's hard to see them, but we planted a bunch of little plug-sized plants in, and then I put those boulders in, some of them myself because it was fun and it needed done so that it would add to the interest. We also planted this area, and we have a new snow contractor, so they're probably not ever going to put a pile of snow right there again, because it's not okay. But we wanted this tree to thrive. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bird's nest right there. It's a honey locust. Don't know what kind, what's, variety, cultivar. I want the soil to be healthy underneath that tree because that tree has been here presumably for 40 years, and it's only that big. And I think it will grow bigger with no problem, but it needs help from a good soil. So this is what it looked like before. This is an ash tree, and it is succumbing to the borer, sadly. It really tried to thrive and live, but you can see it's just full of holes, and we're gonna have to cut it down. See those roots though? You can see there's a lot of roots in this little area between the curb and the building. Now these are calorie pears. I can't wait to cut them down. These guys are reverting, or maybe not these particular ones, maybe some other ones that were on site prior to these that are already gone. But they're reverting and spreading little babies all over on the other side of the parking lot. So we put some native plants here at the back door also. And I tried to put an amelanchier in there, but it's just a tough place, and I know an amelanchier is not the best choice, but couldn't think of a better one that I could actually get at that time. And we did want people to snack on the berries and know that they were edible and all that other stuff. So we put the amelanchier in there, and it's actually still alive, but the top died. If we see some shoots coming out this spring, we will leave it. If not, we'll have to replace it. But I wanted to do something. Look at how tall that building is. I don't know how tall it is. Maybe 27 or 30 feet. All right. We're gonna pause. This is the outdoor smoking lounge on the other side of the parking lot from where we were just looking at some plants. There is a utility right away and possibly forest preserve or a park. Anyways, preserved open space over yonder and a sizable creek. But right here along the parking lot, which I don't think is our jurisdiction, and it's certainly not part of the identified maintenance contract of this project. These plants with the lingering leaves all the way down that parking lot and twice as far behind me down the parking lot, those are all calorie pears that have volunteered to grow there. So if anyone has a pizza oven, and they want calorie pear wood, which would burn very nicely. I would be happy to try to help you figure out how we can get this for you, because I would love to see that gone. There, by the way, there is a recreation path back in there, and there is it extends down to the main road and goes around and around the detention ponds. The ponds are not our jurisdiction either. There were a lot of daylilies on site, so we had our guys dig them up and put them in the landscape islands because a couple reasons. We didn't know at those landscape islands would grow plants. And I know it's pretty hard to kill a daylily, but you can kill a daylily. So we thought we'd try the daylilies first. And they planted them last year in April, beginning of May, and they watered them, when they were out here doing other things, they watered them a few times. And I'll tell you what, those daylilies actually flowered that season. So it just didn't feel right to throw them out into a garbage heap, and I certainly wasn't going to be the one to replant them somewhere else on site. We're trying to transition this place to a healthy, supportive landscape that contributes to our natural systems instead of as such a detriment. And so the islands here were like the canary in the coal mine, because you can see there's a lot of salt on the parking lot. We weren't sure how much of that salt was actually in the planters, what the soil was like. So after the daylilies were growing for a while, I would say maybe the end of June or July, we planted these plugs, which I already talked about before, in a few of the islands. And they thrived immediately. Immediately thrived. The clay was really gummy the day we planted them, and the guys couldn't close around the plants without, packing it. So we had a little leaf compost on site for another purpose. And I went, believe it or not, to the Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, the big box, and I bought bags of sand. So this is most expensive sand, but it's just playground sand or masonry sand. And we backfilled all the holes with the sand and the compost so that it would properly protect the plants from desiccation, but also let them breathe. One other thing, those 3 calorie pears are going to get cut down as soon as we can do it, probably in the spring. And we're going to do something, we might just put a lawn panel right there along the along the sidewalk, so that it just looks like a nice groomed piece of lawn, like in the front of this building. I don't have any objections to 2 or 3 beautiful lawn panels right at the entrances that have metal edging and irrigation and are mowed perfectly, and they don't have a weed in them. I think that's a great balance for people when you're able to put in a lot of other things that are, well, like back here, we have some shrubs. They're small, they're coming on. And we've put in plugs, and they're coming on, but they're small. And this is a primary entrance. And right now, it doesn't look great, but it will look great, because there is actually structure in that garden. It just doesn't show with the snow and the small plant sizes. Another thing I will say, we left this big old juniper in here. We thought about taking them out, but they take away a certain sense of bareness, so they look like something. But I also saw many birds hiding in there, and even though they're probably Juniperus chinensis or something, I thought, well, we don't have any cedar, native cedars around here, or anything like that for cover. So let's just leave them for now. We might take them out in time. So anyways, it's kind of all about this bird and this bird nest, isn't it? Check this out. We saw that before, but now you can see it a little bit better. I have no idea what kind of nest that is. And honestly, I don't remember it being there all summer long. It must have gotten built kind of later in the summer. But it's beautiful.